Gentlemen, I'm grateful that you are hearing me today. I'm grateful that you have traveled many thousands of miles to be able to come here for this convention that will decide the fate of this nation. Many were opposed, saying they did not want to draft a new constitution, that the Articles of Confederation were enough, just needed to be amended. But I say, neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the new wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. I believe that this Constitution is the new bottle that will preserve this nation and the ideals it stands for. And we will not run out, but we will be able to run forward to be able to bring peace to this hemisphere. As we have been able to discuss this Constitution, we brought up many points. One of these points was the issue of the Senate representation. At this time, I'd like to address some of my concerns and thoughts about the Senate representation and help remind what the purpose of that representation is for. Many of these smaller states have let the idea of state sovereignty go to their heads. They have become drunk on the idea of state sovereignty, letting it become an idol that impedes the progress of this nation. Many of the larger states took it for granted that they had a larger population and did not speak up. But, as Nathaniel Gorham remarked, the states, as now organized, no doubt, have a right to refuse to be consolidated into a single national government or to be formed in any new system. But he wished the small states, which seemed most ready to object, to consider what they are being asked to give up the most. Are they asked to give up the most, or the large states? Close quote. I tell you that the large states were asked to give up the most, just as we yoke ourselves together, the strong and the weak. The strong are being asked to give up some of their resources, some of their time, some of their effort to be able to preserve the power of this union. Were the larger states to leave, they could have defended themselves. But what is the use in this? We are powerful as a nation, and that is why we need this Constitution to draw us together. I fear that some of the concerns of these larger states might be lost due to the overrepresentation of these smaller states. While their opinions do matter, and we want to hear from them, it is not through equal representation in the Senate. It would have been better that they realized that we were never independent states, we're not such now, and never could be upon the principles of the Articles of Confederation. These representatives were meant to represent the people to the national government, not the states to the national government. And that is what that's what I'd like to remind you is the most important thing, that the people are represented. As we discuss the matter of electing the president, that is the concern I wish I could have brought up more, that the people should have been the ones electing the leader of the executive branch. As was said by Alexander Hamilton, the president should depend on nobody but the people to remain in office. He might otherwise be tempted to sacrifice his duty for those whose favor was necessary to keep him in power. If the state legislators elect the president, then the president is in the hands of the legislators, not the people. My concern is thus: he is not accountable to the people, but accountable to the state legislatures. At this time, I urge you to consider making sure that the state legislators will now keep the president responsible on behalf of the people, as now they are the buffer between the people and the president, a distance between them. But I do believe that this can work. I do believe that if people are able to express their concerns to their state governments, as they are able to be involved, not only on the state level, but on the national level, that we will be able to become a great American people, that we will be able to forget these tribal mentalities, but that we will be able to rise, to be able to become a light on a hill, to stand as a witness that God does defend his people. And this experiment, this United States of America, will go down in history. But let us not put these tribal mentalities. Let us remember the people that are within these states. I'm grateful for this Constitution, and I urge you all to vote for it, to vote in favor. Your thoughts have been able to make it possible. And I ask that you not taint it with future amendments that twist its intention, but you keep it this pure and grow with the American people. Thank you very much.